Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is 555, and today is yet another cast from the Dota 2 Cast subreddit. Today's game submitted by a Mr. DonkeyWhax, who we can see over on that Radiant side. Again, an all-pick game, so no bans, unfortunately, and I think people just picking whatever they want, as we can kind of see over in the Dire side already, with both the Crobulus and Morphling and that TA. Which does raise some questions as to how they'll lane, because Crobulus often in pub games is played as that mid, but TA also as that mid hero. Neither team really seems to have really... Well, we've now got 4 very farm-dependent heroes on the Dire side. TA, probably the least farm-dependent, but she's a snowball hero. She's not particularly good when playing the more defensive game, and when you've got 3 carries making up the rest of your team, you kind of do need... Well, it basically means if she gets behind, she will be in a lot of trouble. It depends who she's going to be going mid against. It looks like it might actually be, depending if Ancient Apparition goes mid or not. Of course, an Ancient Apparition mid, very, very powerful against those Tierra factions, simply thanks to the power of Cold Feet and how it will tick through. But it looks like he's going for the Curious, so probably the supportive build. And a nice little blue Determined Greeble. I still got that last pick for both teams, both holding off. I think maybe just waiting to try and counter-pick each other. I mean, Dire really needs some kind of support. Anything that who won't be taking out more farm. Something like the Rubik would be good. Shadow Demon, likewise. Simply something who has a disable that can get you some leeway against Centaur. And it looks like Centaur is actually going to be playing that mid, unless he's heading into the jungle. No, it looks like he's going to be mid against TA. And against the Centaur, TA should be basically fine. She can hang back a little bit. Refraction will stop her from taking any damage from Double Edge. And aside from that, Centaur doesn't have too much going for him in terms of lane control. Still got that last pick, the light blue. And Timbersaw finally coming out, which I said farm independent, and Timbersaw is really not one of those heroes. Now, he's very, very powerful as a hero, and depending on how well he does in this early game, he might be able to create some space mid-game for the rest of his team. However, again, if he doesn't do too well, then Dire is really going to struggle, I think, because they just don't have the heroes to be able to play a defensive game, and we do have the Puck coming out as that last pick. Just running to both teams now. Tomato Lord is going to be playing that Centaur in the off lane, Sam Sasal playing the mid lane Puck, DonkeyWhax playing that jungle Nature's Prophet, Heavenly Crap playing the Bounty Hunter, I think he's going to be heading top, yep, and Bipson playing the apparently safe lane carry on the Ancient Apparition. Meanwhile, TZ Coco playing that mid-Templar Assassin, Kaya playing the Death Prophet in the bot lane, Mr. Maybe playing a Jungle Lycan, Martin Ball playing the Morphling, and Timbersaw is going to be joining Death Prophet in that bot lane. A will actually be in quite a bit, because he's a pretty squishy hero. He needs setup. Timbersaw running into that Centaur right now. Centaur actually has opted to go into the bot lane instead of... Out comes the chain from Timbersaw. Tomato just kind of tearing away. He did have Stomp there, but when you have the mana of Centaur, I think he didn't want to use it until he was... unless he was sure he could get the kill. And indeed, Ancient Apparition has gone for Ice Vortex at level 1. Something I don't really agree with, because at level 1... doesn't really do too much for you. You really benefit more from that disable. And indeed, if they can get a stun off on that Death Prophet, she is very much dead. She's not a particularly tanky hero early on. Later on, she will start to bulk up a little bit, of course. Looking at last hits, it looks like TA is doing very well in this mid lane. In terms of... she's only got 2 knives. So level-wise, there's not a huge difference. But TA really just tearing it up. Owing in part, I think Puck kind of getting some ill-timed... It's one of the issues with Puck, because he has such a long kind of wind-up attack animation, you can sometimes mistime that, not leaving too long a space for it to wind up. Ancient Apparition now playing very aggressively on Kaya. Out comes the just Carrion Swarm from her. Out comes the Vortex, but not really going to be playing very offensively as the Timbersaw comes in and scares them both off. Bot lane Morphling should have a... top lane Morphling should have a relatively easy time. He's arranged against the melee, and Bounty Hunter doesn't have too much pressure early on. Even if he does come out, Muddenball can just wave him away if he gets in any real difficulty. We do now have TA picking up that hater, and she may try and look for a gank. It looks like she's circling around looking for that Puck. but she's opted not to go for it after all. Now Puck against the TA doesn't really have too much going because he's only really got two sources of damage in his silence and his illusory orb. And of course refraction is fantastic against big blocks of damage because you just live straight through it. And Puck's right clicks, so Puck, because of her long wind-up animation when it comes to attacking, will take quite some time to burn through those refraction charges. And indeed, as long as TA doesn't play too aggressively, just keeps playing defensively, sits in lane, and then once she hits 6, starts going for those kills, she should have a fairly easy time of it. Again, I think as I said, you've got Lycan actually taking. He was quite low from that jungle. Thought somebody might have been going for him, but never mind. But now Timbersaw caught between two. Out comes Coffee. Is actually going to freeze him, but at level 1, it's not really enough to hold him in place. We've got our Centaur for some reason opting to go for the return over Double Edge. Something I don't, and indeed taking 2 points in Who Stomp. Something I don't really agree with. Who Stomp at level 1 is basically the same as it is at level 6. You get a 0.75 second stun out of maxing it. But more importantly, it also goes up in mana cost by 20 per level. And Centaur early on does not have the mana cost to pay for that. Double Edge, on the other hand, is absolutely fantastic in terms of how well it scales. Again, against squishy heroes like Death Prophet, against even the Timbersaw, who early on it doesn't have that much bulk. A good cold feet, following up from the Centaur Stomp, will be enough to finish somebody off if you consider the Double Edge coming out as well. And that looks like AA is actually going to be roaming into that mid lane. But Templar now chasing after him with the haste ring. She's going to go for him. She has double damage as well, just tearing away. Out comes the Puck. Oh, we're going to miss. Cold Feet lands on TA. She's going to be able to pick him off with that double damage right click. And the Cold Feet she's able to get range before the Cold Feet hits. In comes the TP from Fury and trying to circle around. But now TA playing on the offensive as Timbersaw comes in. They're both heading for Puck. She still has about half the duration of damage left. But she's going to go for these treants instead. Centaur now roaming in. Not really able to do too much. As I said, TA is quite a snowball-dependent hero. In that she's not the best to carry. She's not particularly good when it comes to late game. But what she does have going for her is the fact that if she gets an early couple of kills, as indeed we just saw in the A, she can suddenly start to roam around the map. She has a lot of presence because of her traps. And she gets a fast blink dagger. Suddenly she's appearing next to heroes. She's actually taking quite a bit of damage from Puck at the moment. And Rune's still about 45 seconds off. So she will have to play very defensively until that Rune comes up. Indeed, even then, if Puck can get it off her, I think she would have been advised to send her bottle back with the Courier there, in order to get some regen, and in order to get some health back into it. Now Puck playing on the offensive. The last refraction charge did just come off, but Puck has no mana left, so can't really punish that too heavily. Then Ancient Apparition taking out that Timbersaw bot lane. Sprout did come out from Nature's Prophet, and so the Cold Feet, and that is a horrendous combo early on, because Sprout is, in terms of movement disable, is one of the longest lasting skills in the game at level 1. Which Ancient Apparition loves. He's actually opting to go for the Vortex build, not opting to take any points in Chilling Touch. Which is something I don't particularly agree with, especially against that Timbersaw. Timbersaw, of course, thanks to reactive armor, doesn't take a huge deal of damage from physical attacks, but Chilling Touch suddenly boosts your team massively, and especially because with the lineup we're looking at here, I feel that the Radiant side will be looking to hit the team fight early on. Puck running into the TA in that jungle. She's chasing out. She doesn't have the rune, but she does have phase boots, and she's able to dish out a lot more damage than he can. He is going to be able to orb away, though. She now does spot the DonkeyWhax playing the Nature's Prophet. She's going after it. Out comes the Refraction. Puck sort of hanging around. No real mana for anything. Now Ancient on the way. Out comes the Cold Feet, tearing away those Refraction charges. Nice Sprout is going to hold TA in place. She does have mana for Meld, and out it comes. But now she's not in trouble. She doesn't have Blink yet, so they can just wait her out. We don't have any detection, though, so this may be quite a long waiting game. Puck now does have mana for the Silence. Not going to use it quite yet. And now they're actually sort of backing up, leaving her there. And she is actually going to be, she looks like she might actually be able to get away. AA runs into her. She is going, taking a lot of right damage. And out comes the Puck ulti, going to stop her from getting away. And we don't have mana for another meld. And down she will go to the right clicks in DD. There we are. Sorry about that. Which sets TA back. We've now got 2 kills in the favor of Radiant. And as I said, they have the much stronger early to mid game advantage. Kind of late, if the Dire side can get there, Radiant will be in quite a bit of trouble because they don't really have a hard carry. They've got a Bounty Hunter, again, not the best scaling, and because he's tied to, in a lot of ways, to that Janata cooldown. He can get a lot of damage into a single attack, but because it's only on a single target, it's nowhere near as effective as it is on, say, a Kunkka. And meanwhile, we've also got the Nature's Prophet. Again, come late game, he does have a lot of split pushing power, but the issue is that you also need a team that can stall the enemy, and Bounty Hunter actually picking up a kill on that Morphling. I do apologise for missing that. Morphling tried to wave from away, but he must not have moved far enough. We have the Centaur ulti coming out, I think trying to get away from that Crobulus and Timbersaw. Timbersaw now only level 4. Again, another hero. Both TA and Timbersaw need to start to get that farm into them, because if we start to see the sort of 15-minute mark where they're not able to create control, out comes the Puck Orb. She jumps in. She doesn't have her ulti. Actually, she does. It has come off cooldown. Out it flies. Cold Feet landing on Axel. He's going to drop, and Kaya taking a lot of damage from that Furion ulti and going down to an Ancient Prophet right click. And that is going to be the minus up on Furion and the treads up on Puck. So no real surprises in terms of item builds. Now TA playing very aggressively on Bipson, the poor AA, a squishy hero going up against TA, never lasts long. And that's the second kill for Dire. At the same time, it's only on an Ancient Apparition. Ancient Apparition is basically going to play in the hard support. You can see he's got the smoke. He doesn't actually have boots yet, poor him. But at the same time, Furion's actually had a pretty good time in the jungle. He's been present in 3 kills. Well, 2 and then the ulti. And out comes the Meld Break. And it is going to take a chunk out of Puck's health. Now trying to run away. She drops the trap. TA drops the trap. Puck struggling to get away. She doesn't have mana, but is able to dodge that carry storm. In comes the Bounty Hunter. But TZ Coco still got the faction charges. They're about to pop. Out comes the stun. Catches Coco, but still don't have a double edge. But not really needed anyway. Now going for Kai. We do have the track up, but Centaur is still lagging quite a bit of time. Won't really be able to get into range. And Timbersaw, recognizing the danger he's in, is going to back away as well. Now Heavenly Crap playing very aggressively on the Kai. He will have to back off now, I think. Oh no, he keeps going. He does have Shuriken, and out flies. Actually enough to finish off. The Sprout does come out on Timbersaw and the Cold Feet, but he's able to chain away, and that will get him out of range. Morphling Windmill farming up top. Now he is sitting ahead in last hits. Just bring up net worth, but only about 2,800. So the entire team for Bounty Hunter picking up yet another kill on that Timbersaw, playing very, very aggressively, and then TA getting another kill on Ancient Apparition. Now going for that Centaur, but going to back off. In comes the team from Death Prophet, and she does have her ulti up, so they might try and force this tower. At the same time, again, because of their team, they're sort of forced to play quite defensively. You've got a Centaur, you've got a Crobulus Swarm going for that Tomato Lord. The trap has popped at him, and she is going to try and go for the meld, but a nice stun is able to stop it, and the meld actually didn't hit because he moved out of range. Now Tomato Lord mastering the lone defense against this creep wave should be okay, because we're not going to see an offensive play. Because again, the thing is, you've got this Puck who early on in mid-game is very, very powerful. She can jump in, she can silence, she can stop people from running away. You've got a Centaur who can just allow his team to just roll straight towards you. I say Nature's probably the weakest in that kind of early to mid-game engagements. Bounty Hunter now going for Martin, but out comes the Sprout. He has used the waveform, so he won't be able to get away, and down he goes indeed. Ancient Apparition, again, in those early engagements, very, very painful, both due to his ulti and due to that Ice Fortress. I would like to see him taking those points in Chilling Touch, because I think it is an absolutely fantastic skill if you're looking for these mid-game engagements. Throw it down on your team, and they get, I did the maths once, it's about 2,000 damage extra. Now Crobulus going for that Puck. The slow comes out from TA, but he should be able to get away. Crobulus not quite fast enough. She does have cooldown off on Carrion Storm, and out comes the phase shift. A bit preemptive there, I think, predicting the Carrion Storm would fly. the end just a little bit too early. But at the same time, we have got that tower going down for top. And it does feel like Radiant's game at the moment. They seem to have a lot more map control. TA hasn't really been able to do anything aside from kill Ancient Apparition. Nature's Prophet just farming away. He's completely fine. He's picked up his treads. And Tread's also coming out on Centaur. He is going for that hood, perhaps going for that pipe. He is going to charge in on Mana, but out comes the stop. No double edge to follow up though, so he doesn't have any real damage of his own at the moment. And the top tower is going to be denied by Bounty Hunter. We now have 2 roaming in. We do have the haste on Templar. I'm not sure if they do want to go for an aggressive play here or not. But again, Centaur without, I mean, Return does allow you to survive through the harass. Well, it allows you to punish harass. But again, he doesn't really have any damage going for him at the moment. He does have a stomp, but even that's not max. So it's a build I can't really agree with. We do finally have that Timbersaw picking up that arcane, and that's quite a big issue because he's at 30 minutes in. He's just picked up his arcane, and he's at 3 deaths, only level 6. And all of that means, because again, Timbersaw really a very, very snowball dependent hero. He can create a lot of control. Out comes the stomp. Out comes Heavenly Crap, just wailing away on the Morphling. Is going to be able to finish well. Actually, it's Nature's Prophet who gets that kill. Now Kaya popping her ulti. She is cold feet. She's trying to get out of range. In comes the Lycan, and he is wailing away. 1 kill, 2 kills. And I have actually been neglecting to mention that Lycan. Simply because so many of the engagements have been going on elsewhere. But he's now sitting out of lads at 14 minutes. He's got the smoke, and I assume building into that treads. And I'd be interested to see if he's going to go for that medallion, go for that Rosh. But that, I feel, was probably the first really good engagement for the Dire side. Up until that point, they've kind of been picked apart. They've been losing these fights. But suddenly, in comes the Lycan, able to really punish that overextension past that tower. Because up until that point, I think Radiant may have even forgotten that Lycan was in the game. They hadn't seen him really at all. Lycan only sitting at 3,800 though, and thanks to that track gold, they should be able to maintain a gold advantage. But again, I think the Radiant side does need to be playing as aggressively as possible. They need to be trying to take these fights. Because, excuse me, because Dire does have the stronger late game lineup. If you let them get to that point, they will probably outcarry you. Unless you can get some really good plays coming out from Nature's Prophet. Heavenly Grip has spotted out the RTA. Or has he? She has gone invisible at that point. He doesn't have the track on her either. She's now roaming around looking to find this Nature's Prophet. She has spotted the tree. She knows he's around here somewhere. Bounty Hunter now hanging out nearby. Perhaps just ensuring that if TA does appear, he can really punish her. But he has backed off now. And TA, I think, won't really be able to make any kind of play with that invisibility room. We have got all of Radiant bunching up. But aside from the Centaur, Bounty Hunter meanwhile picking up yet another kill on that Timbersaw. And Timbersaw really, really struggling. And I don't think Timbersaw's basically kind of a non-factor at this point in the game. He needs farm to really be able to do anything in a fight, because he needs that mana regen to be able to deal sustained damage in a fight. Something like a Quap jumps in, she ulties, she screams. After that, she's already done about 600 damage through a team fight. Timbersaw, on the other hand, he has more sustained damage if he can stay in a fight, if he can keep dishing out things. But at the moment, Timbersaw just doesn't have the mana pool, he doesn't have the mana regen to leave that chakra now. We have now got 3 heroes going for the Centaur. He pops his ulti, the meld is going to hit him. Out comes the Adaptive Strike. He does have Stomp, but going to die before he can get it off.
Only mystery is how you lasted so long.
Just looking over at gold, it is in Radiant's favor. We did see a slight dip in the, I believe that was owing to the Lycan kills, indeed. XP, quite a similar story. We are seeing sort of signs of dips back in Dire's favor. But at the same time, Bounty Hunter already picking up that Desolator. And when you're considering these squishy heroes, out comes the Sprout on Mr. Coco. She's going for DonkeyWhax. She's now caught under the tower though, and she has been tracked. She's not being able to get away, especially for a Bounty Hunter. Look at that damage from that Janata hit, thanks to that Desolator. And again, that I really like that he's been able to get Desolate this early, because first of all it means that they'll be able to push down this tower as much more quickly. We've got only 1 outer tower remaining. And I think they are going to go and go for it right now. We do have rotation coming in from Morphling, but alone there's not much he can do against 3 heroes, and especially not to stop a push coming out from a Nature's Prophet and a hero with Desolator. The Fortified popped rather early. I mean, it doesn't really accomplish much either way, because the tower is going to go down. We have got a TP coming out from the Timbersaw, and he wisely opts to cancel it. And it looks like we've got the rest of Radiant bunching up bot. They may be thinking about going for this tower. We do have the ulti up on Crobulus, which may be a little bit of an issue, but at the same time, we're just seeing how much control this Bounty Hunter is offering his team. And then we have the Puck ulti out comes the silence on Mr. Baby, out comes the Dream Coil, TP coming in from the TA, and now the Lycan does ulti. The AA ulti flies out, hits absolutely nothing, heavenly crap, now going for Mr. Baby, gets away with a slither of HP, stun on Coco, and she's now going to drop direct damage. Don't have that double, we have 1 point double edge, not opting to use it. Now Timbersaw playing very aggressively on AA, out comes the center ulti, managing to get AA out of range just in time. Now Timbersaw still going on the aggressive, out comes the ulti, AA dodges it, nicely played. Timbersaw still playing very aggressively, out comes the chain, finally drops the AA. And Puck actually finishing off the Timbersaw in the meantime. Everybody backing up. So all around, an absolutely fantastic fight for the Radiant side. They were only really able to pick up 2 kills. The Lycan managing to get away, the TA managing to get away, but at the same time, again showing that mid game dominance. The one problem is though they haven't been. While they have came out of that fight with the advantage, TA now going for the meld straight in the path of a Centaur. Out comes the Sprout, but the Sprout is but the TP is cancelled. Now the TP coming in. Out comes AA ulti, passing over, hitting only the Crobulus. Now the stun's coming out, stopping to my Lord from getting that stun off. He's still about 60 seconds away from his ulti, and he's now caught between 2. He does manage to catch TA with that stun, and Timbersaw, as it happens. TA now playing on the aggressive. She has got her blink, trying to man fight Heavenly Grip. The sentry is popped down, and now Radiant opting to back off. Morphling now playing on the aggressive against Heavenly Crap. So Cobbler still hasn't used her ulti. And now it looks like Dire want to take down this tower. We have got Lycan split pushing bot. And so Radiant will have to divert somebody down there, or not, as it turns out, because Lycanthrope has just TP'd top. Timbersaw looking around at that cliff, looking, I think, for some kind of initiation. And if we can get a good Death Prophet silence off, if she can catch maybe that AA, and we have another ulti. No, still just kind of looking for a kill. Centaur now tipping in. He doesn't have his ulti. He's about 5 seconds off. Out comes the AA ulti, flying out, catching 2. In comes Bounty Hunter. In comes Puck, going for the silence. She ultis, catching 2. In comes Lycanthrope. Now popping the ulti for, going for the Bounty Hunter. Puck getting away with a sliver of HP. And now Timbersaw going in with the ulti, chains through. DonkeyWhax very, very low. And TA goes down to creeps. Lycanthrope now on the run. Bounty Hunter incredibly low as the silence comes out from Puck. She didn't use her ulti earlier. We don't have enough mana for a stun. He's not going to go for the double edge either. Tia now jumping in, nearly finishing off Puck, but she is able to block out with a nice base shift, and the Bounty Hunter is able to finish off that TA. Centaur throws out the stun, not really able to hit anything at all. Axie goes for the chain, trying to get away. And now out comes double edge, and down Timbersaw goes to a right click from Bounty Hunter. Mr. Mayban now trying to man fight Heavenly Crab as the Death Prophet as the Crobulus Carrion Swarm. So it comes out, finishing off that Bounty Hunter. Out comes the AA ulti, not able to catch anything whatsoever. Now the ulti from Kaya, shredding away at Tomato Lord. And he's just struggling to get away. Out comes the pipe. In comes Morphling, and Tomato Lord still trying to get away. Jumps to a right click from Death Prophet. And I think that was actually a good fight. That was the first death we've seen from Bounty Hunter. I think basically the fight just went on for far too long. They were pushing up against this tier 2. You were able to get TPs coming out. You were able to get the rest of Dire kind of coming into support. Meanwhile, Radiant, eventually they just had to succumb to the continued pressure. I think we had the Morphling who did die, and then he came back in. That's how long that fight went for. And looking at gold, it hasn't actually dropped up as much as I thought it would. I think perhaps owing to that Bounty Hunter with that track. But still, I think a good fight for Dire, because it will... I think, make Radiant kind of think twice about going for the fight. We do have this Puck jumping in on the Morphling. She has thrown out ulti, and he doesn't have the mana for Waveform. In comes the Bounty Hunter, finishes off Morphling with a single hit. Timbersaw still sitting on absolutely nothing when it comes to farm down now at 6 deaths. AA still not taking that chilling touch. And again, I think in that last fight, it probably would have helped to finish off people, especially when you had such an engaged fight. 1 or 2 chilling touches coming out would have done more than those points in Ice Vortex, I feel. But, you do have that magic damage from Puck, so perhaps that's what he's thinking of, trying to amplify that as much as possible. He's recognizing that we have got squishy heroes on the enemy team, and so trying to deal with them that way. Looks like Radiant now grouping up for yet another fight. Maybe we do have the ulti up on Sancho. We do have that pipe, and I think at this point they're going to be looking to try and push down this T2. Timbersaw, the only defender at the moment. We do have a Crobulus roaming in. Bounty Hunter actually looking for a pick-off, and he might find this TA here if he can get the track off. She does have Blink, so unless he's able to... Yeah, he has spotted her, and I think he'll go for the attack break and then go straight for that track. He will have to time it quickly, though, because she will be able to react with that meld. Still kind of hovering around, perhaps waiting for those refraction charges to wear off, or perhaps even waiting for her... Out comes the track. She does just blink away. TP coming in from DonkeyWhax, but then cancelled. Right now, kind of bringing out. They are looking for those pickers. I think they do need some wards in this jungle, though, if they want to be doing that. I can agree with the sentiment. Try and get some pickoffs, 1 or 2. If they pick up the TA there, then go straight for this tower. And also just to make sure that Dire really can't feel comfortable farming. If you deny that jungle to them, they haven't got much else to go because you've got all outer towers down. The map control is firmly... Mr. Mayby actually killing off the Ninja as he tries to PvP. Now going for Heavenly Crap. He's trying to run away. Out comes the Puck ulti. Mr. Mayby not really trying to run away. His ulti has broken, and now in comes Heavenly Crap. He doesn't have the mana for Shuriken Toss. And I do like Lycan's build. He's going for that Necronomicon. He's going to be trying to split push as much as possible. We do have the center ulti coming out. I think that was just to get away from the Crobulus. In comes that Timbersaw. Out comes his ulti. Hits Tomato Lord. There's a little bit of peak damage. Not able to do anything else after that. And he's going to be able to chain away. But we just should like it there. He was able to take on... He was able to finish off the Ninja Prophet. He was able, more importantly, to stand up to this Bounty Hunter, which I think is a pretty big deal. Because Bounty up to this point is being able to really pick people off. In comes the TA going for that Ancient Ambush. Not able to finish him off, though. And now having to back away. Ancient Prophet has picked up that Sheep Stick. And I was saying that Lycan is able to man fight the other heroes. In comes the Puck. She goes for the silence. She doesn't have her ulti up yet, using it on the Lycan earlier. The stone comes out, is able to actually catch Axel, but the chain flies at first. He drops anyway to a Bounty Hunter right click. And we're about to get the Puck ulti back up. In comes the TA. She's going to run away, though. The track has come out, but even that should be enough. In fact, I speak too soon. Out comes the Sprout on TA, struggling to get away. The Cold Feet hitting a Bounty Hunter illusion, of all things. And now the Puck ulti comes out. Out comes the AA ulti, catching one. It looks actually not catching anybody, unfortunately. Now, Heavenly Crap on the run. Mr. Mayby caught in the trees. He has used his ulti form. He was the only person hit by the ulti. By AA's ulti, actually. Center going for the double edge on Morphling, not able to finish off. In comes the Puck. And she does have orb to jump away. I speak too soon. Out comes the Centaur ulti going for that TA, and Cold Feet is going to finish her off. In fact, a right click from Bounty Hunter finishes the job. Now a Sprout on Kaya, which will be able to cover the Radiant's escape. As DonkeyWhax now on the run from Timbersaw and Morphling. He runs up, dodging the chain. But now he's got 4 Angry Heroes surrounding him, and he goes down to Death Prophet. Again, these fights going in Morphling taking a lot, actually just Morphing agility, my apologies. But these fights kind of feel like they're starting to swing in Radiant's favor. We had an absolutely beautiful Puck ulti coming out, but even from that, they had to back off quite quickly. And they were on the run, looking at gold. Still 10k in their advantage, still about 2k in terms of XP, but it certainly doesn't feel that way. And partially, I think, because of the XP, which tells a different story from the gold. They have been able to win these last few fights. I think owing to that track, Radiant will have the gold advantage. But Dire is a team that does a lot better with that gold than the Radiant does. Again, really the only hard carry. Well, I even hesitate to say hard carry. But Nature Prophet is the main right-click damage in general on that team. Bounty Hunter, I mean, he's picking up items. He's got Desolate, I think, going for that MKB. And it will bulk him up a little bit. But at the same time, during these more sustained fights, and indeed, as we get more and more farm coming out onto the Dire side, we will get fights to go longer and longer. Bounty Hunter will start to fall off because he relies a lot on the Janata, on that initial Janata hit, just killing somebody instantly. We have now got TA jumping in on the Centaur. He goes for the stun, catches Coco. He does have his ulti if he wants to run away. And out comes the Blade Mail, enough to stop them from chasing after him, it would appear. Meanwhile, picking up that invisibility rune. There we go. He does have her ulti up. Might try and go for some kind of play. We do have 3 heroes mid now. And the TP coming in on the Timbersaw. Puck roaming around. She is invisible. We don't have any detection up for the Radiant side, where she is a little bit closer to that mid lane. We do. So a little bit closer to the river we do. She may be looking to jump in. If she jumps in now with a good silence, she will really be able to heavily punish. We have 3 heroes on the Radiant side sitting up on that hill. Like a Dope Mimo in this kind of interim, pushing down that tower. And again, she does jump in now. Out comes the Puck ulti, catching two. Now jumping away. And blinking. She is going for Kaya, playing very securely. Out comes the Nature Prophet ulti, but not able to finish off Kaya as she heals somehow. That was the one charge actually. Now Tomano Lord on the run. Out comes the chain from Timbersaw, and it should be able to kill him just with right clicks. Cold Feet does fly out, and Axel is Sheepstick is going to be enough to let Centaur get away. Now we have again Radiant playing on the defensive. And this is the thing, if they're going to all bunch on mid and play defensively, the problem is that Lycan, he loves that. He can just push down, as we saw this tower here. He's been pushing bot earlier, and eventually he will just wear away. Now, Nature Prophet, of course, has similar power, but at the same time, he's not really able to CP away. He's needed in these fights for that Sheepstick that he has, and indeed just for that general damage. Whereas at the moment, Dire doesn't really seem to be in need even of that Lycan. They're able to, while not absolutely decimate these fights, they're able to get away from them without taking too many losses, or indeed in that last fight, taking no losses at all. And if they can continue to play defensively, eventually, again, they will come out with the advantage. We have Crobula starting to bulk up. She's got a mech now. I assume building into perhaps that Sheepstick. And we have the Timbersaw. He's still about 1,800 gold off the Bloodstone, and a 30-minute Bloodstone. Indeed, it'll probably be about 38 minutes before he gets it, if not later. He is very delayed on a Timbersaw, and it's very unfortunate for him, because again, he's a snowball-oriented hero. But even with that said, once he gets those items up, he will be stronger in those sustained fights than most of Radiant's team. Morphling still a fair ways off from the about 800 gold, I believe the recipe cost is for that Lincoln's 1,300. Yeah, so about 800 gold off. Out comes the stomp from Centaur, catching two, but now backing off. And again, we're seeing all that momentum that Radiant had early on. It's really starting to sort of peter off. They're not able to take these fights anymore. Well, as effective as they were early on, they were able to just snowball over the enemy heroes. We have now got the stun coming out on Centaur. He does have his ulti up if he wants to run away. He does pop it now, and that will be enough. Centaur, he's getting caught out. He's having to pop his ulti, and it means that we don't have. In that last fight, we had Puck going in, but we didn't really have a huge amount of follow-up from Radiant, and they do that. In comes the TA jumping in on the Puck. She's able to dodge that meld hit. Now, Centaur caught between 3 heroes. He doesn't have mana. He doesn't have the cooldown for Stomp. He's Silence, not able to get the double edge off. And Timbersaw now going for the Centaur is caught between 2 heroes. And he's going to go down. A little very aggressive play by him, and it didn't pay off at all. But now we have DonkeyWhax, he's going to be pushing that top, and we have a Lycan mid, so this is a bit of a reversal of what was going on earlier, with the Lycan pushing while the rest of his team was fighting. In comes the Puck, Silence catches 2 with her ulti. Mr. Beba does pop his BKB. We have the ulti coming out from AA, catching 2. Actually only catching 1, my apologies, I thought that hit Kaya. But now Mr. Beba tearing away. Heavenly Crap does finish off the Death Prophet, and Mr. Beba is going to opt to back off after all. Nature Prophet, meanwhile, does TP back to base as Morphling rotates him. Morphling about 100 off of that Linkers now, and that will allow him to block that initial stun from Puck. Not a huge issue, the initial stun though. More importantly, it will enable him to block that track, it will enable him to block that toss, and that double edge. Now we have Mr. Medbag caught, he's sheepstick, he's caught in trees, and out comes Coffee, and he's gonna die. The chain flies out from them, so actually misses latching to the trees, and now he's in a lot of trouble. He does have shade, manages to get away to the side, but still not enough. His next one fishing off with right click, and this should be an easy T2 for their team now. Up until that point, I thought Dire was playing very, very comfortably. They were getting pickoffs. They maybe not able to win fights, but certainly able to do a lot of pressure damage, and as I said, they would be able to come back late. But now we just had that big fight where, most important, that was Lycanthrope's first death. He is really the mainstay of what's keeping this game at this point. He is the main source of sustained damage. And so the fact that Lycanthrope was able to get picked off, there should be, possibly, they might even go for this mid tier 2 as well. They've already got one. We have about 25 seconds on Lycan. We do have the ulti up on Puck as well. She wants to jump in. She's quite low though, so I think they're not going to do that. However, Nature Prophet now TPing top, pushing away. Fortify comes out. And we do have a rotation coming out from the Death Prophet. Not much that she can do on her own against Nature Prophet though. He should just be able to TP away and indeed Shadow Blade away if he wants to. And they're actually going to go for this Roshan at this point, thanks to that amazing Desolate damage. Just tearing away at that Roshan. AA still not looking to take Chilling Touch. In comes the Morphling going for AA. Out comes the Timbersaw ulti, not really able to catch anybody. Out comes the strike, catching Bipson. Tries to run away. Timbersaw flying in now with that chain, going for a Heavenly Grip. I think he's going to back off, and indeed he is. Lord now going in, caught by the Silence, not able to get the stomp or the double edge off, and indeed if he got either off there, it would have been very devastating to the enemy team. Now on the run, he pops his ulti, he should be able to get away. Heavenly Crap now passing straight over a TA trap, she's not going to pop it though. But we do now have the TA struggling to get away as Heavenly Crap whirls away. Out comes the AA ulti, and that is going to catch 2, very nice. Out comes the Puck ulti, only catching the 1, Mr. Boar. Now Mr. Midby popping the big play, going straight for Heavenly Crap, chasing him down. The Aegis is popped. And now we have Centaur going for a nice stun. He is struggling to get away and he drops down to a Lycanthrope right click. We have Puck sitting off on the edge and Heavenly Crap, but they are both backing off. And I thought that maybe after that initial fight where they were pick off Lycan here, that Radiant would be able to come back and lead. We do now have Nature's Prophet in the interim picking off that top T2 now, so this might be the game strategy now. He goes for the Sheepstick on Mr. Bear, should be able to TP away. The Silence comes out though, catches him. He does have that TP score and he's going to get away. I think he should have gone for that Shadow Blade instead though, in all honesty. Unless we had a gem up somewhere. We did not, although we did have... And no comedy could only level 2. So he should be able to get it with that Shadow Blade. I'm not 100% sure why he went for the TP Skull instead. Perhaps just trying to... Well, I mean, if he got in the way, it would have been so, efficient with his time. But in the end, didn't manage to pay off. Puckmeow picking up that Yule Scepter. If they can get it off on Lycan, they'll have an advantage. However, of course, Lycan's still sitting at an 8-second BKB duration. And aside from that, there isn't really a particular person who they need to cut out of a fight. Morphling not a massive threat in terms of right-click damage at the moment. He has picked up the Lincolns, which will give him some survivability, but still a fairly long way off from anything else. Indeed, in terms of net worth, everybody bar Lycan in the top 5, is the Radiant side. Lycan, the other one on this team, who's even really sitting, who's even sitting above 10k. Morphling next to us at 9k. And I think owing in part to that track, out comes the Puck ulti, and the AA ulti is going to fly, catching Deathprop and finishing her off. The Linkers does come out from Morphling, blocking the damage. but it does mean he's not going to have it up if Radiant then go for this T2, and indeed they are. Look at that Desolate damage, just tearing away. You have 2 Desolate pickups going on. Puck now jumping in, she doesn't have her ulti up, she's going to throw out the orb, not going to opt to jump to it now. Another center ulti flying out, they does stomp on TZ Coco, but now running away. And this... Di really have to defend this tower, because if it goes down, suddenly you've got a Furion who has a lot more, who can press you a lot more effectively, but it doesn't look like they're going to try at the moment. With him playing on the run, we do have that Lycanthrope Mimar pushing bot. He's going for it. He actually finishes off that first rack, but now taking a lot of damage as another TV comes out from the bounty hunter. Out comes the Sheet Stick, but he's running away thanks to that ulti form. That now here comes the yield. The BKB has one of. Out comes the Sprout. He is caught, and his movement speed doesn't do much for him. And does he have the cash for buyback? He does if necessary, but basically an even trade. 1 racks for 1 racks. So I can see, I was wondering where Lycan was. I actually caught that a little late that he was pushing bot, but now the Wolves tearing away at that racks. The anti-backdoor protection should be enough to prevent them from... to prevent it from going down. The Central ulti has come out, I think, just to allow them to get away indeed. And now it looks like Furion wanting to go for that bot lane. It still feels very much like anyone's game, even though looking at gold, we still got a 15k advantage, more than that, in Radiant's favor. We still have 5k again. The XP is really a different story. But, now, Heavenly Crap going straight for that Morphling. He should be able to wave him away. He has popped his ulti, and he might try and jump to that. And no, actually going to go down. I thought I did see an illusion coming out. And with him down, with Lycan down, they should be able to get the second racks with no difficulty at all. Indeed, we do have that Furion TPing in. We're going to try and take this down as fast as possible. Lycan 1 second away from respawning. In he comes now. He does have BKB up. He does have Necronomicon 3 up. Puggledy comes out, catching 2. Cold Feet on Trobula. She is going to go down 2 right clicks as the Cold Feet just tears away at her. Now, out comes Central ulti, I think, to cover their escape, although they look like they're going for TZ Coco, taking a lot of damage from that bounty hunter. Now, Heavenly Crab heavily overextended and getting taken down by the Timbersaw, finishing him off. Out comes the ulti, catching nothing. Now, DonkeyWhax sprouting himself, but out comes Timbersaw ulti, isn't going to offer him too much protection. Mr. Maybai gets sheepsticked. And Puck getting away. She has a face shift, she does have blink if necessary. Now going for Mr. Bearback, whose ulti form has run out. Double Edge comes out on Mr. Bearback, he's taking a lot of damage. Tomato Lord now going for the stop, hitting absolutely nothing. Puck not quite able to finish on Mr. Bearback. Nice play by Puck, able to dodge that Timber Chain. She does have blink, and she is indeed able to get away, keeping away now. But Nature Prophet Mima now going for that T3 bot, but taking a lot of damage as Morphling comes in, as Lycan comes in and drops to a Morphling rocket. Mr. Miyagi as the super fast P, now going for Bipson. Out comes the Timber Chain, and Bipson is going to go down. And indeed, TP duration just too long to be able to get away. In terms of item progression, we do have basically the only thing we really seen picked up on Death Prophet is Ghost Scepter. Now, on one hand, I mean, that helps you against the bounty hunter, but that's about it, in all honesty. Death Prophet, most of that damage coming out is magic or pure, so Ghost Scepter isn't going to be able to help her too much. And the big issue with Death Prophet is she needs to be able to sit in fight for a decent amount of time to be able to tear away with the Exorcism. As the fights get longer and more sustained, as I've been saying, she will start to become more of a threat. But the issue is, at the moment, she just doesn't have that bulk to survive. T-Mail picking up that BKB against that magic damage. I think that would have been the opportune pickup, and indeed, even on that Death Prophet, I think a BKB would have been quite helpful. It allows her to get out of that pock. Ulti allows Ancient Prophet to basically become a Ancient Apparition, sorry, to become a non-factor. Even the Centaur, much less of a threat. Lycan now going for that Basher, again going for that just DPS lineup, nothing really out of the ordinary here. He knows that he has to be getting into this fight. He is the main damage on his team. And so he's opting instead. I mean, the other option may have been an Assault Crush to try and take those towers a little bit faster. But I think at this point he's kind of recognized that if it goes off and does his own thing in the side lanes, Nature's Prophet and the rest, basically the rest of his team won't be able to stand up and play defensively. And Nature's Prophet will just be able to tear down those towers. And with me now picking up that Yasha, and then we had that Basher pick up on Lycanthrope now. which will allow to give him, which will give him a little bit more lockdown. We're already seeing the Bounty Hunter really start to fall off in these fights. We saw that he was struggling to finish off that TA, while Lycan just kind of rolled all over him, dealing a lot of damage. And with that Basher, he'll just be able to lock down Bounty Hunter even harder. As I said, Bounty Hunter kind of is a hero who does start to fall off late because of the timed nature of Janata. Is going for, I think, the Morphling, but opting to back off, just going for a little scouting mission instead. Centaur now in quite a bit of trouble. Out comes the Adaptive Strike. Heavenly Crab going for Mr. Maybai, but now Tomato pops the ulti, but playing very aggressive, not actually opting to back off, but now Heavenly Crab going for Mr. Maybai. Out comes the AA ulti, passing over Mr. Maybai, not actually dealing the hit damage. Puck ulti comes in, she does silence as well, and phase shifts to try and get away, and they're actually able to finish off that Lycanthrope, and now that's 2 kills, 2 very important kills, the Lycanthrope and that Morphling. And I don't really think that Dire can do all that much to defend this T3 now. We've got 5 Angry Heroes pushing in, although the Bounty Hunter has had to back off. We have the Furion, he is healing up, but he'll be able to TP in very shortly. And if they can take down this T3 bot, if they can take down those racks before Lycan can respawn, I do think that the game is basically over, because at this point, Lycanthrope is already kind of struggling to play that defensive game. His team is struggling to play that defensive game. With 2 T2s, you just can't really afford to push out, because the Mega Creeps will just push you back in on those sidelines. You have to continuously be TPing back to defend. Center ulti comes out, not accomplishing too much. He does throughout the pipe, now going for TC Kotu, who has popped that BKB. We're going down to a Bounty Hunter. Kai taking a lot of damage. Out comes the Timber Chain, passing through. Heavenly Crab taking quite a bit of damage. Out comes the ALT, passing over 2, not really accomplishing all that much, so as the rest of Dire are able to back away. Although Kai are now getting cold feeted. Bumba morphing agility of all things. Now morphing back to strength, I think. But that is both Raxes for a Puck, and that's it. And at this point, I would say that the game is over in Radiant's favour. We've still got that range Rax sitting healthy. Well, not healthy, but sitting alive. At least in the at Radiant's top lane. And for that, we've got both the mid and bot Raxes fully gone for the Dire side. And now going for the Roshan. I think we do have vision up, so they know something is going on. We might see the Lycan going in. He does have his ulti. Bounty Hunter should be able to get away. I don't think we have any detection to speak of on his team, aside from the Necronomicon. Heavenly Crab now going in. He has popped the Necronomicon. That will stop him from actually getting away with that invisibility. And now he actually gets the Aegis. Now, if Bounty Hunter managed to pick that up, then I think the game would have been well and truly over. But the fact that Bounty Hunter's now gone down, I think Lycanthrope is going to be looking to push this advantage as heavily as possible. Go straight down the mid, and indeed he might, if they're able to push hard and fast enough. In fact, I think that may be their only option, to go straight for the throne. Because they know that as the game wears on, they've already lost 2 Raxes, they can't afford to continue to play defensively. TC Coco going in on DonkeyWhax. And the Nature's Prophet, if you continue to play that defensive game, he's going to be TPing around, he's going to be picking bits and pieces off your tower. He's already got 1 T4 on less than half health. And Lycanthrope, meanwhile, he's mustering the only real attack on that mid. Again, Nature's Prophet able to basically just draw off all that power, all of that pushing power from that Dire has, bring it all top to try and defend. Lycan will have to back off now. We've got about 20 seconds left on the Bounty Hunter to respawn, which means that Dire, they haven't really been able to gain much from that advantage that they got from killing Bounty Hunter in that Rosh Pit. Puck now picking up that sheep stick as well, and Lycan now sitting only at 5 seconds BKB. Now in those early fights, the BKB was making a massive difference. It meant that Centaur couldn't do anything at all. It meant that the Puck's damage was getting largely negated. But now Puck, she's got 2 items to separate him from her fight. She's got the Yules, which if it comes out will block him from just running away thanks to the ulti for. But more importantly, she's got the sheepstick. If she can get the jump on him, if she can stop him and get that ulti off, then you've got another sheepstick to follow up from Nature's Prophet. You've also got the Cold Feet, which can hit him during sheepstick form before he gets the BKO. Now Mr. Maybe going for that Bounty Hunter, playing aggressively, but going to now go for the tower. TP coming in from Puck, and he might be in trouble. He is sheepstick, but running away with no difficulties at all. Puck does have her ulti. Out comes the Sprout. Mr. Maybe can't run. She's saving her ulti. We do have the Aegis coming back. No Sprout quite yet. 2 seconds off. and out comes the sheep stick, and they'll just be able to tear away at him. And I think now they can just finish this game. As I've said, Lycan. Okay, well, Lycan doesn't have the gold for buyback. If he did, Radiant would have to think twice about pushing out mid. But now, Lycan with no difficulty, with Lycan down, they don't really have any difficulty at all because he is the Dire side's main source of damage. Sheepy now coming in from the Prophet, going to go for Mr. Bill. Out comes the Sheepsy, out comes the Sprout. He does still have waveform if necessary, but Silence is going to block that from getting off. And now out comes the ulti on Kaya. She does have Blade Mail, that's about it. Coldfeet now coming out. She gets stunned by Puck. Out comes the Timbersaw ulti. Kaya now taking a lot of damage. Gonna go down. And I think this is game. Puck ulti coming out. Sorry, Silence coming out. Hitting TZ Corco, not really too much. BKB coming out on the bounty hunter. I don't think it really matters at this point. They can just finish off these towers now. You still got 30 seconds on Lycan. And it looks like they're actually going to be going for the Megas. But from this point, yeah, it is over. Without a doubt. So I think Bounty Hunter was able to create a massive amount of space early on. He was really able to run effectively. TA not able to do likewise. She picked up AA. Aside from that, she didn't have anywhere near that same kind of space. Lycan, in fact, was the main hero who was keeping Dire in the game for a lot of that, dishing out the most of the damage in those fights. And just making sure that Radiant was kind of afraid to push during this early to mid-game engagements. But as it turned out, the sort of mid-game advantage that Radiant managed to garner was able to roll over Dire before Dire was able to get enough farm into their carries. So, my name's Fire525. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.